Hi, everybody. Okay, let's see. Now we're live. And I'm going to change my screen so I can see what's coming. Okay, so we recapped from last week when we did nutrition, and then what we want to now, tonight we're going to be talking about working out and exercising and how Max 2 3 fits into your program. And to get a concept of what we want to be doing, it's also good to understand like why we would do some of these things. So I'm going to give you a couple of slides about, where we are as a country today as a whole. And some of these things that you understand, like when you get your brain wrapped around it, we can start thinking about a new normal. But then when we really kind of look back at where are we with that in our country, 2 out of 3 people are either obese or overweight. That's a really big number. And the obesity numbers alone are over 30 in the Michigan. So like it averages around 30 in other states, but Michigan's one of the highest levels of numbers of people that are obese. And so that, of course, increases your risks of having conditions that would go along with illnesses and chronic health problems that go along with it. One of the things that really rang in my brain, I don't know if I can see this, so it increases your risk of over 60 different chronic illnesses. That number I didn't have in my head. But what was always I'm really present to is reminding me for myself that just being 10 or 15 pounds overweight increases your risk of heart disease, like by 30% or something, like some big crazy number. Not as high as it would be if you were 30 or 40 pounds overweight, but even just that little bit pushes you into a different level. And so it's really worth it to make sure you take hold of your health and develop the right kind of fitness plan that incorporates all the 5 essentials so that we can use all those things to our body's benefit. And it's really about your body already knows what to do, but we're like, I don't want to say tricking it, but teaching it to do the right thing and learning new habits, because your body learned the habits you even have right now, right? It learned, not maybe exercising very often, and it learned even the foods that you like to eat. You remember we talked about that last week, that your digestive system actually has another brain that can go like, hey, I want some of this, and keeps calling for that other stuff. Your microbiome does all that. So we have to teach it new stuff, and so breaking a pattern is really important, and we can do all those things through the 5 essentials. And working out is one of the things that also helps you break a pattern. Sometimes you can also talk yourself out of a workout, and then you realize afterwards you always feel better after you have a workout. I had this week already on Monday, and when I did start out on Monday, it was before I hurt my foot. I didn't want to get up and work out, and I was giving myself all kinds of stories and excuses, and you guys probably done that kind of stuff before too. But then I start playing what if I don't, and how much worse am I going to feel if I don't? And then kind of talk myself into, okay, I will. And then before you know it, once you get started going into a workout, it just feels so much better. And the good news is we want you to be doing short duration, high intensity workouts, which means it doesn't take 45 minutes or an hour or right. It's just 12 minutes, right? 12 minutes, anybody can do 12 minutes, right? That's pretty easy stuff. Why we want to do it in 12 minutes? Well, it tricks the body into releasing growth hormone in your body. And you don't really sweat very much during the 12 minutes, although I do by the last 2 or 3 minutes. But when you sweat more is after the 12 minutes are over, because then this is one of those workouts where you go and you take a shower and then you're already driving on your way to work and you're like, oh, it's so hot still. And when you're really hot and sweating afterwards, that's your body doing the afterburn. The afterburn is really good for you and really important. And when you understand the physics of what happens inside the body is if you just do this classic cardio where you're getting your heart rate up to 10 times the half of your age divided by whatever. Everybody remember those numbers? That's old science on working out. And what that's figuring out is what level you need to be at to burn fat while you're just working out. So all you're doing is burning fat while you're doing that workout, which consequently people are just going crazy because they think they have to do it for 45 minutes and an hour and 2 hours and spending way too much time working out. And then all you're doing is getting burnout, hurting joints, damaging, parts of your body that don't need to be damaged that way. And you get no afterburn. So you can see in this picture, this is what we're like when you say body hacking, right? We're kind of hacking the body to know that scientifically when we do this, it's going to release growth hormone and make us burn fat. And so it's easy enough to do. We do it through Max T3, which anybody loaded theirs on their computer or their phone or something like that. Does anybody not have access to Max T3? Okay, so if you don't have it either, so if you go to maxt3.com, you can actually buy it right there online, and it's like $9.99 or something like that. It's the best $10 you're ever going to spend. If you have a home care kit and you're in this office with a home care kit, you should already have it in your book. So make sure you check your book first. But if your book is old and you've been here patient here for a really long time, you probably don't still have it, then you go on the website and you buy it on there. But maxt3.com, and there's a button to put in your passcode or buy a passcode. So you can buy it right there on the screen. When you do that, it's going to show you and demonstrate and walk you through how to do different workouts. And the workouts are based, the reason why it's called Max T3 is because the workouts are based on time, tempo, and type. So it really literally works with any kind of exercise. Like if you think you like to swim, you can make this happen with swimming. If you like to ride a bike, you can make this happen with riding a bike. If you lift weights or you like to run or jog in place, I mean, you could do this literally with any form of workout. The difference is when you're changing it up, though, and you'll notice on the digital download, is that some of the programs are like 20-second intervals of workout with 20 seconds of rest. Some of them are 30-second intervals with 30 seconds of rest. Some of them are as much as 40 or a minute workout, and maybe even 3 minutes in a row of something, and then a whole 2 minutes to rest. So if you change the timing to trick the body, because every time you trick the body has to learn something new. When it has to learn something new, it releases growth hormone in your body. And that's really what you're literally after. So even when you're doing these workouts, if you got one that you do all the time and you always do the same one and you don't change the timing or the tempo of it, then you're not going to end up getting that same benefit out of it. And your body will start to learn just that, right? So it's really important to change your workouts up. I put on the side here, if we were going to do a sample of a workout here, and you'll notice on your digital download that there's different days and different types of focus on what you're working out on. This is the rotation that we like to do, and you can do all kinds of different things. You can do upper body and then a cardio and then a lower body and then a cardio, so you can alternate it like that, or you can do the order like I have written up there. But those are like the 4 main focus things that you do. And when you do those, like an upper body workout might have you using resistant bands or weights while you're doing some curls. And then you maybe switch up to and each time you're doing like a different set of those. And then you might do triceps, you might do shoulder presses, even push-ups, or I also like to use about an 8 or 10 pound weight in each hand and do like a forward lean to do back exercises. So you're doing like a lat pull down kind of thing. You could do that with a stretchy band. If you got a stretchy band that you pull down from up above, you can do that kind of exercise. So there's different types of things that you can do in each one of these exercises. Lower body, again, is going to focus on the legs and the butt. Core is going to be all your stomach, but not just your stomach, because your back becomes part of that core picture too. So you'd be doing maybe just as many crunches, they would be doing just as many Supermans, the opposite direction. I also like for a core workout using a weighted ball or some kind of weighted material that you're then using to bend and holding that weight out in front of you and twist and all that kind of stuff using core. They have over at Planet Fitness a whole core section that you can do, like ropes that are like this. That's actually a core / cardio workout. So there's lots of different things, and it's a really good idea to make sure that you're getting all the different moves that you can utilize. And I'll say the best way to really get a hold of that kind of stuff is to do one of the workouts that they do is like so intense and doing all these push-ups over and over again, but then they also teach you how to modify it. Like if you can't do a push-up on the ground, then you're doing a push-up either against a wall or in a chair, so that you're changing, the intensity of it. So it's literally something anybody can do at any age, no matter what kind of impact you can or can't handle, that you can literally. And let me tell you one other key about it is that you work out to your level. And so everybody's going to get to sweat at different intensities, right? So what might make me sweat may be different. What makes you sweat, that might be different. What makes her sweat. So the goal isn't so much to be competitive with, even when you're watching the people on the TV in the Max T3 workouts, they have 3 different people that you would be guided by. So you can choose advanced, beginner, or intermediate, right? And you can pick your levels. And so it's not so much about competing against like, oh, look how much I can do. It's you compete against yourself, right? If you're doing 20 push-ups at one point in time, well, then you want to challenge yourself to see if I can do 25 push-ups or, whatever it takes to constantly increasing that. And then the sweating that we're doing, remember we talked a little bit last week about toxins and how toxins come out in your sweat and why it's really good to release toxins out of your body, because toxins are stored in your body where? No. Anybody remember from last week? Where do we store toxins in our body? In what kind of cells? Fat cells, exactly right. They hide in our fat cells. You're right, because you remember all the things around the outside of the cell. So yeah, so when our when our toxins get released, it lets the excess fat that we have on our body also leave, because we no longer need it for protection, right? So sweating it out is really good. And what do you need to do while you're sweating it out or after you're done sweating it out? Drink lots of water, right? And so circulating that water through your body. I've never had so many times where I've had to, tell somebody and even remind myself, and then even when you know better, that you forget. So it's really important to get yourself some type of way of knowing or measuring what you drank during the day, instead of trusting yourself that you're just drinking when you're thirsty, because we're pretty incredible at not paying attention to our own needs. We just get too busy in the day and keep going. So I like to focus on having some form of either a container or a water bottle that you buy, or something that your goal for that day is to have 2 of those, or if it's smaller, you got to have 4 of those, or whatever your number is. And everybody should work at your goal is half of your body weight in ounces in water. Okay, everybody got that? Okay, so then when we have to work a little bit on mindset and talk about why mindset's so important, is because stress will block weight loss. Stress will hinder weight loss. Stress hinders weight loss because cortisol is released when we have stress. And then cortisol actually really makes your body make more insulin, and making more insulin makes you have more energy, which is what your body's trying to do, help you when you're stressed out. But then guess what? You have more energy, and guess what? You get hungry. And so then you get more cravings, and then you want to eat more, right? And then if we're really stressed out, do we do a really good job at picking what we're going to eat? Terrible, right? We end up eating stress foods instead. So it is really important to recognize when you're stress eating. I like to even suggest, if you find yourself like, oh, I really feel like I want this right now, to maybe write it down so that you would stop yourself and think from an outside-in perspective, do I really need that or have to have that right now? And what could I maybe do or have different that would, satisfy whatever stress thing that you're dealing with that maybe makes you go through that process. And sometimes just journaling about whatever you're stressed out about can even help make it, better. So reducing stress is a big thing. We talked a lot about nutrition last week, but now our focus on the nutrition topic is going to be like how and when and what. So you'll notice when you look at your meal plans that I've outlined for you today that we have a lot less food on here. That's because during this week I gave you some options of different types of way to do some fasting, or what we know to be called like a reset. So I mean, think about how your body naturally resets. When would you say, without thinking about fasting or planning to fast, can you remember a time in your life when you ended up fasting when you didn't really mean to, and then it happened? Anybody remember when that happened, or what you were going through when it happened?
I can see it when sometimes I'm really busy. I'm like, yeah, I went all day and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, no breakfast.
Right. That's like a natural stress fast. How about anybody ever not eat when they're sick?
Oh, yeah.
That happens a lot, doesn't it? Right? And you just don't feel like eating because you're sick, right? Well, so let me just tell you something. Fasting actually resets your white blood cells in your body. Isn't that interesting? So you thought it was just like, oh, I'm so sick I can't eat, but it's actually your body doing exactly the right thing at the right, what do I say all the time? Body's always doing the right thing at the right time when it needs to, right? And so it actually, the fasting time reduces your white blood cell count, which signals in your body to actually make more white blood cells, so that then when you go back to eat, your body actually replenishes, and stem cells kick in because stem cells are present because they're making new cells. So it's actually your body's way of kind of flushing itself out. It's interesting when you stop and think about it, because things in nature are like that all the time. Like when the earth needs healing, we have thunderstorms and hurricanes and rainstorms and, all kinds of crazy weather that the earth naturally needs. And those are all things that are nature actually healing and fixing itself. So sickness kind of ends up doing the same thing that your body does. So because we know and understand that fasting actually does that, we can recognize that an occasional fast is actually good for your body. It's actually resetting some of your cells. So fasting for weight loss can actually reignite your metabolism, right? And it kind of makes your body go a little off track and then reset itself. And then it helps you get to increasing fat burn, because your metabolism kicks back in after you reset. And again, the problems with this is that, and I've even made this mistake myself, and I know I've even made this mistake from this place right here, talking about doing fasting and doing it all the time, right? So those of you who've been in my classes before know that we talk about that, right? We do, intermittent fasting, how do you do that? Oh, forever. Well, no. The problem is that then you end up having other problems because you're doing it too much, right? And so that's why we talk about cycling fasting, and even cycling the core and advanced plan. So there's two different types of fastings and the ways that you can do it. And then we really express a need to switch it up and not always do it the same way. Intermittent fasting is the first thing we'll talk about. And this is just in fasting in general. It improves your insulin sensitivity, so which then decreases blood sugar in your body. It helps release healthy hormones in your body. It improves weight loss efforts in your body. And it actually has anti-cancer benefits, because you remember I said stem cells kick in, so you're making new cells in the place of old, dead, dying cells that need to go away anyway. And it reduces tumor growth in your body. So this is also really good for cancer prevention. You guys need me to leave that up for a second? That's good. Got them all? Okay. So I'm sorry, I meant to say one more thing on this slide. I forgot. Intermittent fasting is when you have a stretch of a period of time of the day that you don't eat. Like maybe you don't eat, like some even religions you've heard talk about, like they don't eat when the sun is up. So you pick a certain stretch of the day, and whether it be 6 hours or 8 hours or 14 hours, you stretch that time when you're not eating anything but just drinking water during that period of time. And that's how you do intermittent fasting. So you're not fasting for the whole entire day, but you're doing it for periods of time. And I do suggest this is the first place to start. It's good for people to practice this way, just to kind of see how you do with it and teach your body to practice going longer, right? So you could start out with normally you go to bed at night, like at 6 o'clock. If you don't eat after 6 and you go to bed at 9 or something like that, and you get up the next day, you don't eat again until noon, you automatically did 18 hours right there. So that, is like, but that would be difficult to do. So maybe start at 12, and use your sleeping time to make that time increase and gradually increase it like that. And then the other type of fasting is called 1 meal a day fasting. And that 1 meal a day fasting, you pick what one meal you're going to have the day. And this would be the even less food, obviously. Like the intermittent fasting, you might skip only one meal. This is actually only eating one meal. And you might pick to have it just be dinner. You might pick it just to have it be lunch. I would suggest it be either lunch or dinner and not breakfast, because then it's going to be harder to make it through the rest of the day. But then you don't want it to be too late of a dinner, right? Because then you want to also have time to digest before you go to sleep. So that's the other one. So the suggestion for that is a varied style of fasting that is then sustainable, where you rotate this from week to week. And you might do like a whole week of just regular advanced plan eating, and then a week of intermittent where you're adding advanced plan, rotating in core plan in there, and then doing a couple of days of fasting, and then go all the way back over to advanced plan for a couple of weeks, and then changing it up like that. The couple of patterns that they've suggested is a 5-1-1 would be 5 days of intermittent fasting on the advanced plan, and then 1 core day of eating, like all day, so no fasting in there. And then the day after the core day of eating, do the only 1 meal, right? And then you can rotate that out. And then the other option is doing 4 days of intermittent fasting with 2 core day plans, and then 1 day of only eating 1 meal, right? And so there's patterns like that you can choose and make your plan during that time. You'll also notice on your sheets that I gave you that I tried to also vary like where you would work out, and some of the days, especially the day that you're only eating 1 meal, is a stretch or maybe go for a walk day, but not a big, workout day. So it's important to tailor those things all together at the same time. Make sense? Any questions about intermittent fasting or 1 meal a day fasting? Seem kind of easy enough.
Mary, you said like just only water. Like, is there any other options? Tea?
Yeah. Yep. You could do green tea with lemon. I would try to avoid stevia, but if you have to have something sweet, you could use stevia. But I would not use xylitol, or I wouldn't use the the drinks that have erythritol and then like those kinds of substitutes. I would avoid as much sweet tasting, so you don't trigger your brain to think you need it. And so tea, water, bubbly water that doesn't have anything in it, like a liqueur, one of those things. Carbonated water. And you could put maybe lemon, in water, you can do that. Lemon water, okay. Any other questions? Again? Okay, so then there's also nutraceuticals that go along with weight loss. And I looked these over a little bit and tried to make some comparisons for you guys. And one of the things that one of the things I first looked at when I looked at this is that we're talking about, so you got your order sheet on here. I don't know. Oh, no, I did separate it. Okay, so we do have the option of either bundling or individually purchasing, like we've done that before. Where if you bundle, you get 20% off. If you individually get 5%. With these, you'll notice, like some of you have been in our classes before doing weight loss stuff, that we've had Max Fit. And Max Fit is one of the things that we would use, and Metabolics Burn, which is its like upgraded version of itself, is a little bit more intense of some things, and they've now added the L-carnitine. I wrote details on the back of your meal plan sheet about what these things were, because these are new supplements to me as well. What I looked at and I realized they do still sell Max Fit, so if that's something that you're using you like. But then I thought about it and realized that everything has a way of like improving or bettering itself. And as they find like a formula that works better or something that, hey, we don't have enough green tea in this thing, we better put more of this. I think even the metabolics has switched to green tea instead of green coffee, which the Max Fit was green coffee extract and this is green tea extract. So they've improved it, So I didn't want to make it not available to you guys that they, improved it so great. So I'm excited about it. The L-carnitine you can see on the nutraceutical list is an amino acid that's really important with energy production, and it also helps oxidize fat, which will boost your levels, your energy levels, and increase metabolism, right? So those are one of the goals we would have. Then the next one is the metabolic burn, which again is got the green tea extract in it, the ginseng, and then it helps boost your balancing your hormones, which we talk about hormones, but hormones like eating hormones. Remember, there's that leptin that tells you when you're full and tells you when you're hungry. And if you get too much of one hormone constantly telling you you're hungry instead of the one that's telling you when you're full is like sleeping somehow or another. So this metabolic burn helps balance those hunger and full hormones so that you can get control over your cravings. So that helps with that. And then the grass-fed whey protein you guys know about, they do improve on the formula pretty frequently. This one is one that's made from grass-fed cow. If anybody's got dairy allergies, you want to swap out the protein in your bundle for a Pure Path or a bean, which is a plant protein, you can do that. Pea protein. Okay, questions about any of that? Gumbo? Mumbo jumbo gumbo? You guys good with that? Moving on. Everybody got the link for the Max Giving recipes? We talked about those a little bit last week because we did, and the week before that. Everybody got the link or anybody need it? Casey has it available, and we also would get it like on our emails when we send out our emails. So I wanted to make sure you knew about having that. And then I made a sheet. Anybody know? It's somewhere around here. I made a sheet for connecting that I wanted to make sure you guys knew where it was when we get out to go have dessert. You know what I did with it? Yeah, I did laminate it, and I don't know what I did with it. I apparently walked around. It might be on my desk because I wander around with stuff all the time. But we have a laminated sheet that has the URL little barcode things that you can turn on your phones, cameras. Does everybody know how to use these? Okay. So, see, I got other boomers besides me. I'm a boomer too. So you can turn on your camera on your phone and hold it up to this like you're going to take a picture of it in your camera lens. And your phone will automatically open the link to tap on to go to this page. So you don't actually take a picture, you just hold your camera over it and it brings up the link. And once the link comes on the top of your phone, you touch it and it brings you right to this page. You don't actually take a picture, you just open a picture on your phone, open your camera on your phone and you hold it over. And now you know for the rest of your life, whenever you see these things, that's what you do with it.
A lot of restaurants are doing that for
Their menus, yeah, you do. Yeah, you hold that restaurant site. Anyway, so we have a YouTube channel and our videos that we're doing and have done all these 6 weeks plus other ones that I've done. Like at the beginning of COVID, we did a bunch of them online. Hey, they're kind of funny.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll see us just, being us. No big deal, but just being us. The other thing that's on there is when I did during the beginning of COVID, I did a couple classes on one, and I'm likely going to be doing one in December for Christmas. So find our YouTube channel. We want you to like it and subscribe to it so that we have more people on our YouTube channel. So that's everybody's homework assignment. If you want dessert today, just kidding. I would still feel good. Okay, so that's your connect thing. The other thing is we want you to make sure you're on our Facebook page. Anybody not on our Facebook page? Right? Before you leave here tonight, make sure you like our Facebook page. That screen will do that for you too. Go over to the Facebook button, hit it, and then like it. Okay? Easy enough. The core chiropractic conversation we're having about this, and making all these 5 essentials that we do all work together, means you got to have your nervous system healthy in the process of all that, right? And keep your body healthy and working well. And no one thing is, more important than making sure everything works well together for your nervous system doing its job. So this is a reminder to make sure you're doing your home care exercises, right? And that we're getting our traction done, our wobble chair done. The formula for doing those things is to do traction and wobble first. It's a good idea to do it first thing when you get up in the morning, and it can even be your warm-up before your exercise. You're doing a workout that day. And then your weights go on after that. So if you are exercising, like you're going to do your traction, and you're going to do your wobble chair, then do your 12-minute workout, then throw your weights on your head. Right? Because the weights are what sets your muscles after you've warmed everything up. And the exercise will just incorporate right inside of that at the same time. Okay? Laying on your rolls, those are good to lay on when you go to sleep at night. Try to, if you can't sleep on them all night long, like if you fall asleep and you're a back sleeper, you're golden. But if you can't do that, try to spend about 10 or 20 minutes either as you're dozing off, or I'm more of I don't like to pop right out of bed in the morning. I like to set my alarm clock early and trick myself and go, oh, I'm going to sleep in 20 more minutes. So I grab my rolls when I'm doing that. And I keep them right by my bedside, so when my alarm goes off, I hit the reset button, go to 20 minutes, and put my roll in my head. And start the day with your neck supported like it should be. Those of you who can sleep on your back, that's even better for you. I told you already about the upcoming event, and it would be an online event. I don't have a date for it yet. Oh, I got one more thing to tell you though about. I know. Is the toy drive, not toy drive, what do we have? A food drive going on this week, and we have 2 more days. So we have tomorrow afternoon and Friday morning. Thank you those that have already sent people in, because we've had a pretty good turnout so far. And we'd like you to also bring in groceries. If you bring in a bag of groceries for donation, your name goes in a drawing for a free massage that we're going to raffle up in. So you still have time to get that grocery bag in. And then in December, I think the 7th through the, 5 days later is, 7th through the 12th, we're doing a warm coat, gently used warm coat, or a new warm coat, and new hats and gloves and scarves and that kind of stuff. And again, if you bring in a donation, your name's going in a drawing. If you bring in a donation with a new patient, that new patient gets their exam consultation for free for their first day. Cool? And that is it. Anybody have questions?